Did you know that the name Leo may be the most prophetic name a pope can choose, and that its legacy could secretly signal a radical shift in the direction of the entire Catholic Church? You're not just hearing the echo of ancient tradition when a new pope calls himself Leo. You're witnessing a deliberate invocation of power, reform, confrontation, and, yes, revolution, cloaked in sacred robes. 14 popes have chosen the name Leo, but two of them, Leo I and Leo XIII, stand as spiritual giants who didn't just lead the church. They dragged it, often kicking and screaming, into moments of moral clarity that still shake the foundations of Catholic doctrine and global politics today. Pope Leo I, who took the throne of St. Peter in 440 AD, was not only the first to bear the name, but the first pope ever to be called great, and not without reason. In a time when heresies were tearing at the flesh of the early church and Rome itself trembled before invading armies, Leo I became a lion in word and deed, preaching with fire, penning theology with precision, and walking unarmed to face Attila the Hun, confronting the very embodiment of terror with nothing but the authority of his office and the conviction of divine truth. He didn't just save Rome. He defined what it meant to be pope. Not a passive overseer, but a warrior bishop who viewed himself not just as the pastor of a city, but of the entire world. And that's not metaphorical. He literally said it. This same Leo clarified one of the most essential beliefs of the Christian faith, that Christ is fully divine and fully human. His Tome of Leo wasn't just a theological letter. It was a thunderbolt that helped solidify Orthodox Christology at the Council of Chalcedon. It's no coincidence that Leo I's remains were interred in what would become the most iconic church in all of Christianity, St. Peter's Basilica, planting the legacy of Leo into the very bones of the Vatican itself. Fast forward over 1,400 years, and another Leo would rise, this time to confront not heresy or invading armies, but a world being devoured by industrial greed, economic inequality, and the silent screams of the working poor. Leo XIII, yes, 13, took the papacy in 1878 and would become a spiritual revolutionary unlike any before him. His 1891 encyclical, Rerum Novarum, was a warning shot at both unregulated capitalism and the rising tide of socialism. But most importantly, it was a radical declaration that the church could no longer sit in the shadows of social injustice. For the first time, a pope dared to say that to exploit a worker is a crime in the eyes of God, that laborers have the right to unionize, to rest, to just wages, and that the fruits of their labor are sacred. This wasn't charity. This was justice, spelled out with papal authority. He didn't just defend the poor. He laid the groundwork for an entire branch of church teaching, Catholic social doctrine. Think about that. Before Leo XIII, the Vatican rarely lifted a finger to protect the working class. After him, every social justice encyclical, every Vatican statement on economic policy, traces its roots to Rerum Novarum. And now, in a moment that few saw coming, an American cardinal, Robert Prevost, has chosen the name Leo XIV, echoing both Leo the Great and Leo the Social Prophet, and doing so with what many believe is a message coded in historical resonance and spiritual challenge. You're watching history unfold not just in who was chosen, but in the name he chose to be called. Because choosing Leo isn't just about respect, it's about resurrection. It's about signaling that the new pope sees the same threats, the dehumanizing effects of modern society, the cries of the exploited, and the theological confusion of a church often paralyzed by fear of change. And he doesn't want to repeat the past. He wants to weaponize it. But here's where it gets even more intense. Leo III, this same pope whose social vision now shapes global Catholicism, also warned against what he called Americanism, a heresy he described as the temptation to tailor Catholicism to modern American ideals like activism over contemplation or liberty over obedience. He thought the American church was slipping toward a dangerous individualism. So how wild is it that the first American pope, Leo XIV, just took the name of the pope who condemned the very spirit of the church in America? Is it irony, a challenge, a warning, or a spiritual full circle, showing that perhaps the flaws Leo XIII feared have now matured into strengths the global church needs? Don't overlook this, because names in papal tradition are never random. They are theological statements, battle cries, blueprints. Pope Leo XIV is telling you something, that the lions of the church's past are roaring again. And let's not forget Leo XII, who fought for clearer liturgical music and church order. Or Leo III, who crowned Charlemagne and helped shape the Holy Roman Empire. Or Leo IV, who built walls to protect Rome and unify Christian resistance against Islamic naval raids. Or Leo IX, who tried to reconcile East and West, but presided over the moment the church split in two, his name tied forever to the Great Schism. All of them wielded the name Leo in times of transition, turmoil, and transformation. It's no exaggeration to say that when a man chooses the name Leo, he's stepping into fire. He's aligning himself with a legacy of confrontation, with heresy, injustice, invaders, corruption, and complacency. So you can bet Pope Leo XIV knows exactly what he's doing. You can bet he chose that name to conjure not just one predecessor, but a lineage of holy insurgents. And if you're wondering what comes next, if this pope will quietly follow in the footsteps of Francis or shock the church by reigniting the radicalism of Leo XIII or even the bold doctrinal clarity of Leo XII, you're not alone. Because the name Leo doesn't just symbolize strength, it demands it. And now, with that name spoken once again from the balcony of St. Peter's, from the very spot where Leo the Great was once laid to rest, you're being summoned into a moment of decision. Because history doesn't just repeat itself in the Vatican, it resurrects itself. And the lion never roars for no reason.